Today's content is sponsored by Skillshare. Attention gamers, something new that I have been trying in the bot lane is pairing this tranquilizing toddler with the light flashing FAP magnet, because not only does it adhere to the famous proverb that more CC equals more GG, there is just something arousing about delivering an ambient enema to your foes and waiting for them to wake up dead.
How the hell do you wake up dead?
But unfortunately, one thing that isn't new but rather a feeling that almost any League of Legends player knows is when you stomp the early game harder than a horny elephant, rocking an impressive 9-0 between you and your lane mate, only to wonder how the overall kill count is tied at 10. All due to the rest of your team seemingly being forced to share one brain cell between the three of them, and you knowing that the result of their feed festivals will eventually become your new reality as you try and fight off these fed monstrosities who have been handed cash all game like they are selling away herpes-ridden bath water marinated by their unsanitary gooches for hours, and your teammates are those weird freaks buying that crap on repeat until it's too late and your early game fun has turned into a depressing case of being imprisoned in your own fountain. I call this League of Legends syndrome, and today we are going to study a rather serious case of the inting idiots and the actions around the rift that occur all too often in this piss pit of a game. So if you are someone who has experienced the forces of this serious syndrome causing you to contemplate why you even play this anger-inducing game as it repetitively gives you rift kicks in the man marbles, then please slap that like button, silly, and let's get into it. Alright, so as I mentioned, we were playing this cheddar cheesy bot lane comp, and I wouldn't have my douche set to full throttle if I didn't make our first impression with our opponents a surprise, so needless to say he gets put to sleep, slapped straight in the bleep, and first blooded to make his widow wife weep. Introducing our first feeder, foreshadowing the snowball that his lane opponent is going to experience from his presence as he snow piles a little posse of pimple-sized wizards and then makes the intelligent decision to greed heavily for one more little hoodlum homicide, which puts him in a situation consisting of rapid-fire slither spits as he stares the pain straight in the face and says, "Slap me harder baby and I will pay you for your time." And after flashing to try and dodge the ticking poison, he does just that. Then we have Homie with the extra chromie numero 2, and I feel like the turning point of this first battle was when he unloaded a heavy right hook into one of those red-robed KKK babies, but the frat boy always sticks around when a keg is present. That said, this night does not result in him getting lucky as Scurvy Steve lights him on fire and claims his treasure. Meanwhile, bot lane, we are exploiting the fact that we have CC and bursty skill shots to miss while all they have is some soft feathers and the reassurance that ADCs are actually OP once they have 6 items, but unfortunately none of those things are going to help this hoe as Zoe lights her on fire with her own husband's match, which ends poorly for her. I continue delivering my skill shots to the wrong house as Rakan flashes and Zoe says, "Anything you can do I can do better," and I drop my confidence on the ground for a third time, but thankfully this dumb upright goat didn't gel up his hair just to back away to safety and end the night early as he opts to go cavorting alone instead, and my accuracy remains consistent before finally finding the money with a star slapper. Back to the feeding furball who was going to do us all a favor by sitting in base, but then something stopped him like the ghost of dumbasses past, telling him to roll a dead bitch ball straight into no man's land so that he can pucker his hairy ass while trying to flee from his own ineptitude in the form of a pissed off sex serpent Fang flurrying him to oblivion, crying that he's both and doomed before she hits a flash to secure her cash and get out. Ah, here's a fresh face we haven't covered before, the ghost fetish freak and her bloody sperm cloud of a pet who clearly couldn't grasp the consequences of contesting Scuttle Crab when her own bot lane was running back from the shopping mall, so we get there too late to prevent Pathetic from being birthed, but it all worked out because Clobber Clubs here stuck around to grow ice boners from the ground, which resulted in him becoming crystal incarcerated, induced with sleepy troll syndrome, and murdered. Then these birds decide that it's time to get the flock out of here, but a little long-ranged ambient has other plans, and look everyone, all what a selfless act by the lady. Too bad I still turned her bird brain boyfriend's ass into a burnt pizza, as the sky informs us of a pending snake shit, to which Nunu says no problem, and we all surround her chanting feet diff until she can't take it anymore and dies. Checking in on our top lane twat Waffle, who I guess is not concerned that a pirate has been slurping big boogers straight from his dumb numb head all game, as he deems being lower in health level and intelligence a good sign to engage in a brawl to the death, and gee, I'm shocked he loses that one too. Now, if you aren't convinced of the power of 2 mages in the bot lane yet, please see the attached example where I donate both my Q and my E to the Whoopsie Foundation as Rakan comes ass dashing in and Hoppy Longhair whiffs her slumber squid before backing up to score a field goal with her Q, all while this AD quote-unquote C is wailing on us, but all it takes is 1 out of 10 to land and we win with ease. And here we go again, let's all guess how this one is going to turn out as a group of red robes get delivered a snow day which comes at a price being enforced by a python with an overactive pituitary gland, and hey look, it's a duet of dumbassery as Boosty Bear dies and Miss Shepherd Shitter gets caught staring at the forbidden tits, which results in their hyper carry earning another pile of cash. Checking in up north as the hormonal high school wrestler grabs some air only to still commit like an inbred dumb shit, and the fact that this fight was even remotely close shows how this champ was designed to be played by sea monkeys, but unfortunately this guy is just below that bar and dies. Quick swap back to our mid laner whose birth certificate I am now convinced is an apology letter from the condom factory, as his no mana no plan gets abruptly halted by Cass, who's like, bitch, I'm just gonna stop you there and send you back home. Now at this point you are probably saying, but Rav, what can I possibly do about being stuck with teammates like this abominable snowman? And that is why I want to introduce today's sponsor, Skillshare, the online learning community with thousands of dope classes where you can explore new skills across all kinds of topics like film and video, and learn all the editing skills needed to make problems like this feeding furball disappear. I am currently taking an animation for illustration class by my homegirl Libby here, so that the next time someone asks how I went from this to this, I can have the skills to tell my epic tale in a more engaging way. The platform is an ad-free space curated to help you level up the skills that are important to you for an incredibly affordable rate, and since me and these noble sharers of skill are practically biffles at this point, they have agreed to give the first 1,000 people who use my link in the description a free trial. So give this awesome community of lavish learners on Skillshare a try today, and let's get back to the reality that is this hopeless game. Because despite the rest of the rift burning with an awful smell like it's one of Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina-scented candles, we are still managing to make their bot lane question the resiliency of their marriage, as I catch Mr. Tomness calling an Uber back for them both, so I try to pull a quick one which fails, but his cocky Conor McGregor style walk afterward catches up to him as the Ludin proc that he literally dashes into kills him. This results in the perfect opportunity to record for our film called Two Mages One ADC, and if you are aware of its inspiration, you know that there will be a lot of shitting on things as Feather Heather's little take flight to avoid this plight fails in preventing her from a fiery death. Back to mid-Mumsimus Prime here, gearing up for what will undoubtedly be another dumb death, because news flash, being both a melee with half health and a moron under a sieging tower is just a recipe for Slither Tits here to drool until she has to spit over the free opportunity to taxidermy the dumb yeti yet again. And so yeah, you're now up to speed from the intro where we had the feeding fucktards representing on the scoreboard, followed by me being introduced to the entire extended Fed family all at once and forced to watch this yelping pussy on her panda play this tower dive to absolute perfection. But what you didn't see is Mr. McFister up here thinking that the first 3 attempts to scrap with Captain Cucky Nuts went well enough for him to give it one more go. Or our sheep archer and her burnt jellyfish simp thinking she can 1v1 the slither slut who's more fed than a fat uncle after a pot roast. And in case you want a 3-in-1 special, the very next play we get the trifecta of thoughtless titlickers. This starts with Betty on her Yeti rolling her back to baseball again until the purple piss smoke has other plans, forcing her to complete her red robe drive-by on foot as her friends from the Fuck Up Academy join, and she treats her near-death experience as a wake-up call, to wake up and get her dumbass back into danger to die without doing anything useful, before we learn that the magic number is 3 in this case, 3 unevolved apes to get to the center of a fed serpent. And now the unfortunate reality of me having to group and try to team fight with these troglodytes begins as Set gets us started with a flashed falcon punch, and then I get fed Sally literally one dick jiggle piss drop away, but man tights can't even manage to do that as he dies, then she dies. And since this is League after all, despite her practically being a Kardashian based off of how much free fortune she has been handed this game while having no talent to deserve it, she still has to chirp and chat about us being sweaty while she is over here so lubed up from her own skin grease she could probably slide through a raw penne noodle. But I have bigger problems to worry about, like this happy-go-lucky kamikaze one-man feeding force of lost and found brain cells as he rolls into his own grave once again, and I star-slap the scurvy shitbag to make Rift Alexa not seem so one-sided in her announcements. But Slither Tits is somehow worth shut down again, which is just obnoxiously baffling considering she has the positional awareness of a water balloon, but it becomes apparent when our Ahem tank top dies in the 3v1 before I can rob the Rattler for some more shutdown bounty. Oh, and it's worth noting the Hoof Homunculus ventured off and died at the end there too. And I don't know if it was just something in the Rift water today or what, but all of my teammates were like straight out of the tutorials as Mini Pad Thai Noodlehead and her floating blood clot bullishly try and spar with fat-ass Jack Sparrow again, which just ends in another flashy but unmemorable failure. So no surprise they are all stuck back in the 1960s watching the game in black and white, leaving me and the big-headed Girl Scout alone to contest drag, which is a dead end, well except for me cucking the Cobra Kardashian again. This leads to them stomping into our base like they own the place, but oh no, it's time for Nunu to not be so shit for once as I come in and fire a cue at Gangplank's past as my contribution to the historic event of this furry ball of uselessness getting a kill in this game. But good plays by this dimwit are about as rare as rocking horse shit, as shown in this next play when he wakes up Baron seemingly just to get spit on, as if that nasty shit hypes him up or something, but regardless it certainly did the trick as he immediately bitch balls himself straight into danger, stares at those stunning tits head on and gets the snake shaft once more. Then we experience one final bout of me wondering how on God's earth this dumbass reptile got so fed with her inability to stick to safe places with her slithering, only to almost immediately after observe her point of view like a damn zoo animal just being hand-fed some helpless creatures that don't know any better and can't put up a fight, which ultimately results in the sad reality waiting at the end of this tortuous syndrome. You getting fountain fucked wondering how your perfect early game has come to this, and I have to say, I think that little shit shepherd was the unsung hero of sucking ass in this one. Let me know in the comments if you have ever been victim to League of Legends syndrome. Rav out. How can I carry when Rift Alexa won't stop saying I'm hard stuck? That's what all the haters say. I'm hard stuck, giving all my LP away.